Hello, my name is Jessica Hammond, and I'm the operations manager at the Video Project, and we are located in San Francisco, California, in the United States. And the Video Project has been in business since 1983, and the cause that kind of catapulted the Video Project into the sphere of educational documentary distribution was the Cold War and the nuclear arms races of the 1980s. There were a few people that are actually still with our company that were highly concerned about the proliferation of nuclear weapons, and that started back in '83. And so from there, the company's gone through a couple different changes, but we've got back some of the original folks who developed the Video Project, and we are kind of trying to bring it back to its original state. And that's taken a couple of years, but it's on its way. The Video Project is concerned with bringing educational documentaries, high-quality educational documentaries, to the education market. So the Video Project focuses on colleges and universities and high schools, also nonprofits who are looking to expand their reach or to educate the public through film. And that's the root of the Video Project's business. But however, we also want to take our messages in film to greater audiences, and that's what we've been doing through what we call a community screening module, and it makes the films and the rights to screen publicly available for an affordable rate to many different outlets. So it could be a city, it could be a local church group, it could be a nonprofit. There's a lot of different sources that can utilize these films. We would really like for our films to be available to a wider audience. We think that they're worthy of being available to a wider audience. The difficulty in that is that we're not affiliated with a cable station. To get into cable stations, it's difficult. I mean, to get into public access or PBS, what we call the public broadcasting system of the United States, it costs a lot of money. There's a lot of funding that's necessary to support the access on each of these independent public television channels. So that's a process in and of itself, and yes, we do go through that process, but to get onto a cable channel, it's really difficult. Every cable channel has its own kind of lens, its own view. It doesn't necessarily match with ours all the time. And it's about making money. It's about capitalism. It's about driving commercials. It's about driving product and sales and all of these other different things. So if that's not captured in your film, then it's not going to be captured on cable. So that's the challenge, actually. But making it more accessible, like through the community screening module or through having it streaming, rent for a day, all of these different new markets or new modes of getting a film to the consumer is what we're hoping to be able to embark on more. We're an extremely small company, but we're trying to do big work, and so that's kind of where we're headed. But we're working on it one day at a time. One of the favorite films of mine is America the Beautiful, and I think that that's a great film. It talks more about the cosmetic industry and the plastic surgery industry, and I mean, I'm a feminist studies major and a global peace and security minor, so a lot of these things kind of intertwine with the things that I'm very passionate about. A lot of these films cover those topics. But America the Beautiful, I think, really hits home because people don't understand how big the production side of these cosmetic industries is. Like, they don't realize how huge it is and how much manipulation is involved in the images that we see. And making more healthy images available and making more healthy products available is all part of making a more sustainable world in the first place, but then also about making a sustainable humanity, like people's, minds being in the right places and being able to love themselves. And that's extremely important. That's more important than anything, right? We can't have a world without having people that can love one another, and that requires not being so isolated and not being the self-deprivation that we kind of instill in ourselves. And it's actually a really kind of like double-sworded self-deprivation, because it's the kind of self-deprivation where we're depriving ourselves of loving ourselves, but yet we're filling ourselves with all of this stuff, and it's just stuff, and that's kind of the problem. San Fran is a perfect place for the Video Project to be, because of a lot of the movements that have happened in the past. It's kind of made the area prime for this type of information to be received and used. However, there's a lot that's not necessarily seen about San Francisco from outside perspective in. There's a lot of grievance between, like, for example, the Bayview Hunters Point community and the police. And there's a lot of gentrification that is taking place. So we're pushing people out. And as much as we pride ourselves in being environmentally friendly, I think that we don't pride ourselves enough in valuing our neighbor and each other and valuing every community that's in this city, rather than kind of criminalizing them, every aspect of their being criminalized, and then not providing them with solid foundation and education and access to resources and things of this nature. I've personally lived in Bayview Hunters Point, and it's like a southeastern section of the city, and it was a Superfund site. It's a toxic site. It's a toxic dump site from the U.S. Navy, okay? And the city refused to clean it up for like 60 years, and then they sold it to a developer for $1. They sold the land on the bay, beautiful view, for $1 because they didn't want to clean up the toxic fund site. But yet they've been having people live in the projects that sit on top of that toxic fund site for 60 years. So there's a lot of, even though we pride ourselves in being environmentally friendly, there's a lot of environmental destruction that we don't want to see because it's in the wrong person of color's neighborhood. You know, for a long time, the city had very receptive type of laws around homelessness. They have attempted to try and fund more shelters, but the fact is that it's safer to sleep on the street than it is to sleep in a shelter. I mean, if you got 100 people that are all homeless, I mean, there may be a couple people that have mental health problems or disabilities, and you shove all those people into one box, and that's not safe. You know, that's making it so that you have 2 or 3 people out of that 100 that may not be the safest people to be around, and there might be more people that will steal from you, and you're an easy target by being in this one box with all these people. It's not actually providing them with a home either. It's like very transient nature. And also for a long time it wasn't a crime to sit down or lie down on the streets. Now it is. Very recently, like in the last 6 months, a sit-lie law was implemented, and now it's illegal to sit down or lie down on the sidewalk. That's crazy to me. Well, I've actually only made a couple of films myself, and it's something that I really am passionate about. I want to be able to tell a story through film, through using media as a tool to educate and inspire and enlighten. That's my cause behind it, or that's the reason why I want to continue in filmmaking. But the films that I've made are mostly on women. Like there's a film I made in 2007 on sex work and the criminalization of sex workers in Oakland. And actually it was more about the influence of hip hop on sex workers and people's perceptions from actual sex workers and from pimps who are in Oakland. Their perceptions of the influence of music in lifestyle and in culture. The other film I made was on Sikh Indian women immigrating to the U.S. and our immigration policies around our immigration policies don't allow for people to go back and visit their families. So these women, which was the focus of our film, are working in Artesia in LA in these dress shops and sari shops and spice centers and things of that nature, and it's really difficult because they're losing family members in India, and they are not able to return because if they do, then they will lose their green card or their status here. So that was just looking into how we can better serve our our hardworking immigrant populations, which is not just Sikh Indian women, but that was the focus of that particular film. And I mean, it's really disgusting the way that we treat each other in this country and then other people from around the world. And it's all about money. It's not about anything else. It's not about your security. It's not about, keeping the streets clean. It's not about making sure people don't break into your house. No, it's about money and who's getting paid and how much. And that's disgusting. Well, working here, I've met a really great, long list of really great producers, people who are very passionate about what they do, who put in the time and the money and the resources and their connections into creating a film to educate and to do the things that I'd like to do. And they may not be the same topics. A lot of our films cover environmental topics or sustainability, or mass extinction and things of that nature, but it's still extremely inspiring to see that they take up their topics and they do the research and they put in all the time and effort, blood, sweat and tears, and it happens, and that's awesome.